This summer, thousands of missiles were fired at Eretz Yisrael. In fact, for years now, the terrorists have been building tunnels to hurt the Yidden inside of Eretz Yisrael. This had to stop. And so, the Israeli Defense Force targeted the terrorist infrastructure and underwent intensive surgical operations, even making direct contact with the enemy.
Welcome, Chayalim, to this special rally. As you just saw, this summer was very challenging. In fact, the situation in the world is really challenging, and that's what's called us to make this very special rally. In fact, throughout the entire summer, the phone has been ringing off the hook. Emails have been coming from all over the world with one request: make Tzivos Hashem rallies. And you may be wondering, why? Well, to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to go back to before the Yom Kippur War. I wasn't born then, so I've asked the head commander of Base Rivka Montreal to join us and co-host today's rally together with me. Shalom Aleichem, welcome Rabbi Minkowitz. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here and to speak to all the Yiddish Kindlech throughout the world.
Rabbi Minkowitz, do you remember the Yom Kippur War?
I remember this very vividly.
Please tell us, how did it start?
Starting from right after Shavuos, Tovshin Lamed Gimel, the Rebbe spoke in many Fabrenges, many Sichos, many letters about the importance of children, the Torah that the children learn.
What did the Rebbe want the Hasidim to do?
The Rebbe asked everybody who is able, has a holy mission and obligations of reaching out to each and every single child, starting from the youngest age, to make sure that they get a proper chinuch, a chinuch of Torah.
Why especially children?
The Rebbe quoted the posuk mipi elim v'yenkim yesada to'eis lahash b'seivim misnakim. From the mouths of children and babes and sucklings, the youngest children, they have the unusual and extraordinary power to still the enemy and the avenger.
Did anyone get the hint of what was going on?
We realize something great and special is happening without us knowing anything what's going on.
By Shabbos Mevarchim Elul, again the Rebbe spoke by the Fabrengen. Tell us what he said.
The Rebbe emphasized to reach out to each and every single child, and wherever there are children, to explain them to them. The moshel, the parable that the Alter Rebbe writes in Likutei Torah, that Chodesh Elul, the month of Elul, is a time when the king is in the field. And the Rebbe said something very amazing, that a child, more than an adult, once they understand the greatness of the Melech, of the king, they will definitely run towards the Melech.
Rabbi Minkowitz, all I can say is wow. And if that's what the Rebbe wants us to do, then let's do that now. Chayalim, are you ready? I can hear you. Let's try that again. Chayalim, are you ready? Well, then you all know what to do. Take out your papers of your sicha to follow along. And remember, shh, not a sound. With the proper respect and derech eretz, let's listen to the orders from our general, the Rebbe.
Die gefindt sich das in Chodesh Elul, was hat damals sich wie der alte Rebbe sagt, ist ein Melech Basode. Aber man darf sich gar nicht anstrengen und machen Zugreitungen, gedei zu treffen sich mit Nebesten und nehmen Kränen als ein Melech und Elikim, worin gefindt sich mit jeder Rieden in Feld, nicht der Hechel Malchusse, nicht bei sich, auch geschlossen in seinen Hechel, nur mit jeder Rieden in Feld, und wie der alte Rebbe steigt unter, als beweist sie Ponim Sechakeis für einen freilichen Ponim, der Kabel besever Ponim Jofis, und nimmt auf jeder von sie, mit einem fleichtenden Ponim, und mit einem schönen Ponim, und warte mit dem Geben die Bakoshes, wird sehen, normale sein.
And then came the Fabrengen. It was Shabbos Parshas Kisavai, Chay Elul, and the Rebbe asked that we publicize his request to gather children together, even in a place where there's only one child. How much more so when there are many, because B'roiv Am Hadras Melech, and therefore we should do anything possible to gather these children together. Rabbi Minkowitz, you were there by this unbelievable Farbrengen. Tell us, what did the Rebbe say?
The Rebbe said something which shook everybody up. The Rebbe said that by finishing off the year this way, that through the children we will still the enemy and the avenger, then it's going to happen that the Satan will be thrown out of the Beis Din Shel Maila, and he won't be able to make any accusations, and there won't be any discussions with the Satan, as the famous story that happened with the Baal Shem Tov.
Could you describe to us what the Chasidim's reaction was when they heard this from the Rebbe?
Right after the Sikh, everybody's looking at each other very, very puzzled. What is the Rebbe talking about? About Halahashbis Eyev Misnakim, throwing out the Satan, not to have any discussions with the Satan, not to listen to any of the accusations. No one that I know of understood what the Rebbe was talking about.
And it was after that Sikha that the Rebbe gave out the famous letter. I believe you have a copy of the letter with you. Could you read it to us?
It is my Bakashosi Rabbo, which means it's a very great request that pertaining to these special days of Chodesh Elul, these are days of mercy, days we can ask special favors from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in particular, based on what we know, that the whole world exists because of the breath of children under bar and bas mitzvah. So therefore, in one of the days of slichus, and preferably it should be the first day of slichus, we should gather the children who are younger than bar and bas mitzvah, and to make a tremendous effort that the number should be as great as possible, to gather as many children as possible throughout the entire world.
And if I remember correctly, the Rebbe gave very specific instructions what to do.
To explain to them that this is now the beginning, we are in the days before Rosh Hashanah. And then everybody accepts upon themselves the yoke of HaKadosh Baruch Hu of Hashem. And Hashem blesses each and every single Yid with a ksivach, b'chsim ateva, l'shana teva, and b'sukkah to be inscribed in a good and sweet year.
Chayalim, we're going to do exactly what the Rebbe asked right now. All you have to do is listen very carefully.
Wo das ist wie der Tag, was steht auf Tkia Schäfer, aber das ist wie eine Vielzach, aber ich habe mit Kreinta Käse, ist auch dämmelt bloß mein Schäfer, als zu beweisen die Simcha, am hat machtig gewesen den Meller, wie der Psadi goyne Marich Barucho, was hat see ist echt, wenn geht zu Tkia Schäfer von Chodesh Elul, Tkia Schäfer von heimtigen Tag, was mit echt erst geblasen, auf der Monen jederen von uns. Und du echt alle Jiden bechol Mokim Sheheim, wo sie gefunden sind, auf den Ingen von Yiras Hashem.
Amazing. And if we can go back now to the Rebbe's letter, what else did the Rebbe ask the children to do?
And especially now is a specific good time because the king is in the field. So therefore we ask that all the children should say together and with a CHAYA of an enthusiasm. And the Rebbe enumerated exactly which psukim and what to say. Number one, Teira Tziva Lanu Moshe Miroshe Kilas Yaakov, Shema Yisrael, Baruch Shem Kved Malchus Elul Vod, and portions of Avinu Malkeinu.
Rabbi Minkowitz, if I can just interrupt you, we have right now with us thousands of Chayalim part of this rally. And if we can just take a minute to do exactly what the Rebbe asked, Chayalim, let's unite together, all of us, and say these Pesukim that the Rebbe asked the children to say. And like the Rebbe said, let's say it with a tremendous amount of chayas. Let's go to our base in Crown Heights, base CHAYA MUSHKA, and we have with us 3 Chayalim, Sergeant Major Livi Shuchat, together with Sergeant Major CHAYA Masikov, together with First Lieutenant DEVORAH LEAH Librov, and they will lead us in the Pasuk of Torah Tziva. Remember, Chayalim, let's say it with a lot of Chayas. Amazing Chayalim, these Pesukim will surely pierce the heavens. We now go to Hebrew Academy Community School in Margate, Florida. We have with us Chayil DEVORAH LEAH JANOWSKI, together with CHAYA MUSHKA ROSENFELD and Michael Andruzier, and they will lead us in the Pasuk of Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Fantastic, your Chayas is unbelievable. And now we go to our base in California. From Cheder Menachem of Los Angeles, we have with us Sergeant Shmuley Kunin, Sergeant Major Yisrael Levin, First Lieutenant Yossi Heidingsfeld, and First Lieutenant Samach Tenenbaum. They will lead us in the Pasuk of Baruch Shem. Yes, Chayalim, these are not the regular Pesukim that we always say. In fact, before the Yom Kippur War, the Rebbe hadn't even introduced the 12 Pesukim yet. That was years later in Tavshin Lamed Vav when we were taught the 12 Pesukim. So now let's finish off the last pasuk the Rebbe asked to say then, which was Avinu Malkeinu. We're going to go to our base in Chicago. From Cheder Lubavitch, we have with us Sergeant Major Zelik Notik, together with Sergeant Major Elio Musat and Second Lieutenant Shmuley Brackman. They will lead us in the pasuk of Avinu Malkeinu. Wow, this is amazing. We are doing now what the Rebbe asked the children to do over 40 years ago. And part of that letter, the Rebbe asked that the organizer of each rally should stand up and announce in a loud voice what the Baal Shem Tov said. That when we come down to this physical world, this gashmistical world, we come with a mission to light up the world with Torah and mitzvahs. And with that mission of Torah and mitzvahs, we travel throughout our city and wherever else we go. And then the Rebbe finished off the letter wishing us a ksiva v'chasima tova, happy and a healthy, sweet new year. And then he asks that we give tzedakah. Now there was something special about that request. Rabbi Minkwitz, tell us about it.
The Rebbe wrote the expression bakashoshi kfulo. I have a doubled request to give 2 coins to the children. 1 coin should be given as a present from me, and my suggestion is not as a condition, as a suggestion they should give it for tzedakah. The 2nd coin should be specifically given from me to be given for tzedakah.
Chayalim, we're going to do that right now. Every chayil is going to get 2 coins. One with a request, not a condition, that you give it to tzedakah, and the other one is to give to tzedakah.
And the Rebbe signs off the letter that Toida Rabbah, with a great thanks, a special thanks, v'nafshis. After the signature, the Rebbe writes, it would be a good idea to do this also in one of the days, Vaseres Yemei.
Then, on Yom Kippur, the Egyptians and Syrian armies both sprung a surprise attack on Eretz Yisrael, especially the Egyptians who fought their way across the Suez Canal and engaged the Israelis in the biggest and bitterest tank battle since the Second World War. Even the Israeli planes, the strongest part of the Israeli army, were shot down. The entire line of defense was destroyed. Left with only one unit, with 98 soldiers and 4 tanks, against hundreds of tanks and 80,000 men. Let's listen to a first-hand report from Moshe Levy, the commander in charge of that unit.
The general came, he said, Moshe, you guys need to dig a line. Behind you, no one will stop the tanks to Tel Aviv. I remember I went in the front to set an example. I had a guy, sergeant with me, we dig in, all the soldiers digged in. And then it was quiet, it was 11:30 Shabbat. And one of the guy in the back, whose name is Avner, said, Moshe, how are we going to stop the tank with those rockets? Maybe we'll be able to scratch the paint of the tanks. And the Egyptian started shooting and coming. We blew many tanks and the rest went back.
And the same thing happened with the Syrian army. With only 3 Israeli tanks, they stopped over 150 tanks. The Syrian soldiers simply ran away.
The Yom Kippur War, the Rebbe said, was a greater nitzachon, a greater victory, even than the famous 6-day war that took place six years before.
Rabbi Minkiewicz, when did it click that it was the children who won the war?
A few days after the war, on Yud Gimel Tishrei, the Rebbe had a farbrengen, and the Rebbe quoted in his great humility, Niba v'layoda my niba. A prophecy can be given, and the person giving the prophecy doesn't even know what the prophecy is about. And the Rebbe said clearly that I was speaking an entire summer and writing letters and speaking about the importance of Yiddish Kinderlach under Bar and Bas Mitzvah, the strength that they have, Lahashbis Eva Misnakin. Why did I speak about all of a sudden this year? And now we see how important it was that the Yiddish Kinderlach, they are the ones who was Lahashbis Eva Misnakim in a Nes L'mayla Mederech HaTeva. It was a tremendous miracle, a great Nes Min HaShamayim that Hashem made, all in this chus, in the merit of the Yiddish Kinderlach.
Rabbi Minkiewicz, this has been unbelievable. Is there a message that you want to give to all the Chayalim?
The strength that children have, and emphasized by the Rebbe, is something which should not be taken lightly. The Rebbe asked we should understand this, we should be explained to the children. Every child can understand this. You have a secret weapon that no one in the world has. You have it. And you can use this every single day with the brachas of the Rebbe, with the help of the Rebbe, and with the strength of the Rebbe. You'll be matzliach, and you'll be proud of yourself. Your parents will be proud of you. The Rebbe will be proud of you, and Hashem will be proud of you. And in this chus, we will bring Mashiach Teikef Umiyad Mamish now.
Chayalim is such a special time of the year, with such special strength that you children have. How can we have a rally without piercing the heavens and telling Hashem, enough galus, we want Mashiach now. Chayalim around the world, please join in and sing from the bottom of your heart, we want Mashiach now.
We want Mashiach now.
Chayalim, this has been unbelievable. And now for a very special treat. We'll end this rally with a beautiful, heartzik, Hasidic niggin, Chayalim sing-along.
Story old, yet so new, breaks our heart, yet so true. A story of Hasidim traveling to Lubavitch, coming to their Rebbe to be with him once a year. A month goes past, the time draws near. He must depart from what's most dear, returning to his city where Hasidim await him. Tell us, dear Chosid, what did you see? What did you hear? L'chaim, friends, with tears in his eyes, mir hoben a Rebbe, the Chosid replies, no matter who we are, just being there gives us strength for the coming year. But tell us what you heard, the Hasidim demand. My mind was full, my heart was clogged, I could not understand. The Maimorim were too deep, I couldn't hear a thing. This is all I can repeat. Nahoy tikru b'chodesh, b'chodesh hashvi'i shumo Yisroel. Ayir amoy laroy amamam, ayayo naroy tikru b'chodesh, b'chodesh hashvi'i shumo Yisroel. Ayir amoy laroy amamam, times have passed, things have changed, but one thing still remains, the journey of Hasidim from far and from near, coming to their Rebbe to be with him once a year. A month goes past, the time draws near, he must depart from what's most dear, returning to his city where Hasidim await him. Tell us, dear Chosid, what did you see? What did you hear? L'chaim, friends, with tears in his eyes, mirobin Rebbe, just open up your eyes. No matter who we are, just being there gives us strength for the coming year. Although I did not see, although I did not hear, there is no doubt in my mind that Rebbe was there with us. He did dance, to us he did speak. This is all I can repeat. Nahoy tikru b'chodesh, b'chodesh hashvi'i shumo Yisroel. Ayir amoy laroy amam. Ashmi Shubo Yisroel Ayera Moy Laroy Amama Moy Yo
Chayalim, after the war, the Rebbe had a yechidus with one of the commanders in the Israeli Air Force. And he asked the Rebbe a question. Why did you make such a commotion about gathering children before the Yom Kippur War? And the Rebbe answered him, because politicians can't win a war, but children can. And the Rebbe taught us by the rallies an incredible war tactic. When your enemy attacks, you can either go to war and fight him, or there's a more clever way of dealing with it. Even before you go to war, without having to go to war, you gather together thousands and thousands of soldiers. And when the enemy sees how many soldiers you have, they get scared and they don't even fight. And the Rebbe told us that just us gathering together for these rallies and strengthening our commitment of Torah and mitzvahs, which we're all going to do, each and every one of us are going to take on a new achlata for the coming year, that alone is enough to scare away the Yetzer Hara. And then we can be sure that this will be the last rally in Golus, because we'll spend this year Rosh Hashanah with the Rebbe. We'll hear the Rebbe, we'll see the Rebbe in the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. May it be taken from a yad mamash now.